There is a moment in every failing business that no one talks about. It is not the day salaries are delayed. It is not the day employees whisper in corners. It is not even the day the gates are locked. It is the quiet moment long before all of that, when the entrepreneur wakes up one morning and feels nothing. No excitement, no urgency, no appetite. The office still opens, the staff still arrives, machines still hum, but something invisible has already shut down. Because when the person at the top stops wanting the business starts wanting to die. And when a business begins to die, it does not fall alone. Those working under it fall first. The Hungry Leader. Part 1. This audiobook is not a motivational speech. It is a warning, a diagnosis, and, for those willing to listen deeply, a chance to reverse something most leaders don't even realize is happening. Because lockouts don't begin with money problems. They begin with hunger problems. Chapter 1. Hunger built this. Comfort is killing it. Every business you see today, big or small, was born from hunger. Not inspiration, not strategy, not even talent. Hunger. The kind of hunger that keeps someone awake at night. The kind that makes rejection feel temporary. The kind that turns obstacles into puzzles instead of excuses. Entrepreneurs don't start businesses because life is easy. They start because life is unbearable the way it is. They are hungry for control, hungry for independence, hungry to prove something, to the world, to their family, or to themselves. In the beginning, they work longer than employees ever would. They take risks others avoid. They make decisions with incomplete information. They live with fear, but they move anyway. And that hunger becomes contagious. Employees feel it. Vendors respect it. Customers trust it. But then something changes. The business survives. Revenue stabilizes. Life becomes manageable. And comfort quietly replaces hunger. The entrepreneur still owns the business, but no longer chases it. This is where danger begins. Because comfort is not neutral. Comfort is corrosive. It softens urgency. It delays decisions. It convinces leaders that good enough is good. And while comfort feels harmless at the top, it becomes catastrophic at the bottom. Chapter 2. The invisible contract between leader and worker. Every employee signs 2 contracts when they join a company. One is written, salary, role, hours. The other is invisible. The invisible contract says, I will give you my time, energy, and loyalty, and in return, you will give me direction, stability, and a future. This contract is not enforced by law. It is enforced by belief. Employees don't expect certainty. They expect intent. They can handle pressure. They can handle change. They can even handle failure. What they cannot handle is a leader who has stopped caring. Because when the entrepreneur loses appetite, confusion trickles down. Decisions slow. Meetings become repetitive. Vision statements stop evolving. Problems get postponed instead of solved. Employees sense it immediately. They may not articulate it, but they feel it in their bodies. Something is wrong. And when leadership energy drops, workers don't relax. They panic silently. Because their survival depends on someone else's motivation. Chapter 3. Why lockouts never surprise the people at the bottom. When a factory closes, newspapers call it sudden. When an office shuts down, headlines say unexpected. But ask the workers, and you'll hear a different story. They saw it coming. They felt it when orders slowed, but explanations didn't arrive. They noticed when leadership stopped asking hard questions. They sensed it when cost-cutting replaced growth thinking. Employees always know before the public does, because they live inside the system. They feel when the entrepreneur no longer fights for the business, only manages its decline. Lockouts are not events, they are processes. Slow, quiet, psychological. And the cruel part is, those at the bottom suffer the consequences of a decision they never made. They didn't lose appetite. They didn't stop believing. They didn't stop working. Yet they are the first to be locked out. Chapter 4. The psychology of an entrepreneur who has given up but won't admit it. Most entrepreneurs don't announce that they've lost interest. They rationalize. They say, the market is bad. This generation doesn't want to work. Things aren't like they used to be. But beneath every excuse is exhaustion disguised as wisdom. They confuse fatigue with maturity. They confuse fear with strategy. They confuse stagnation with stability. And because they still show up physically, they believe they're still leading. But leadership is not presence. Leadership is pressure. Pressure to grow, pressure to decide, pressure to adapt. When that pressure disappears, the organization starts drifting. Employees don't need a perfect leader. They need an alive one.
Chapter 5. When the vision stops moving forward. Vision is not a framed statement on a wall. Vision is motion. It evolves, sharpens, responds to reality. When an entrepreneur loses appetite, vision freezes. The same goals are repeated year after year. The same strategies are recycled. The same promises are delayed. Employees begin working without knowing why. And when work loses meaning, performance collapses. Not because people are lazy, but because humans need direction to give effort purpose. At this stage, the entrepreneur often blames the team, but the truth is uncomfortable. A directionless army cannot win wars. Chapter 6. Why employees pay the highest price for leadership apathy. An entrepreneur can afford to lose interest. They may have savings, assets, options. Employees don't. Their rent depends on leadership clarity. Their children's education depends on business continuity. Their mental health depends on stability. When leadership becomes indifferent, workers live in constant uncertainty. Not knowing is worse than knowing. A clear, "we are struggling," is survivable. A silent, "I don't care anymore," is not. This is why leadership apathy is not neutral, it is violent. Not loud violence, quiet violence, the kind that erodes lives slowly. Chapter 7. The first unspoken question employees ask. Employees rarely ask out loud, "Is this business going to survive?" But they ask it internally every day. They look for signs. Is the entrepreneur still curious, still learning, still investing, still fighting? Or are they just maintaining appearances? When the answer becomes unclear, employees disengage, not out of rebellion, but self-protection. They stop giving extra. They stop suggesting improvements. They stop believing in long-term promises, because no one builds a future on shaky ground. Chapter 8. The lie of "it will somehow work out." One of the most dangerous thoughts in business is this: it will somehow work out. This is not optimism, it is avoidance. Businesses don't work out, they are worked out. Markets don't forgive hesitation. Competitors don't wait for clarity. Customers don't stay loyal to stagnant brands. When an entrepreneur loses appetite, hope replaces action. And hope without effort is surrender. Chapter 9. A truth most leaders never hear. Here is the truth few entrepreneurs allow themselves to face. If you no longer want the business, you are already closing it, just slowly. And the longer you delay acknowledging that, the more people you hurt. Leadership is not about ownership. It is about responsibility. You don't just own profits, you own consequences. Transition. Where we go next. In the next part of this audiobook, we will confront something uncomfortable. Why employees don't fail first, leaders do. Why weak leadership creates lazy teams, and how indecision at the top multiplies fear at the bottom. We will also begin the shift from diagnosis to awakening, because hunger can be rebuilt, but only if truth is faced without excuses. Part 2. The moment blame shifts downward. There is a predictable moment in every declining organization. The entrepreneur starts asking a dangerous question. Why aren't these people performing like before? On the surface, it sounds reasonable, but beneath it lies denial, because performance is never independent of leadership energy. When hunger disappears at the top, effort weakens below, not because employees suddenly change, but because direction dissolves. People don't give their best to leaders who are merely maintaining survival. They give their best to leaders who are pursuing something. When pursuit ends, motivation follows. Chapter 10. Why leaders call teams lazy. People don't want to work anymore. This sentence has been spoken by failing leaders across generations. It is comforting because it moves responsibility away from the mirror. But laziness is rarely the disease, it is the symptom. A team becomes lazy when decisions are delayed, feedback is unclear, goals don't evolve, effort goes unnoticed, growth paths disappear. In such environments, effort feels pointless, and humans don't resist work, they resist meaningless work.
Chapter 11. The Slow Death of Accountability. Accountability does not disappear suddenly. It erodes. First, leaders stop setting clear expectations. Then they stop following up. Then they stop correcting. Then they stop caring. Eventually, everyone learns the truth. Nothing really matters here. Once that belief takes root, culture collapses. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. Chapter 12. Indecision, the most expensive leadership habit. Indecision feels safe to the person making it. No decision feels better than wrong decision. But indecision has a cost, and it is never paid by the leader alone. Employees pay it with anxiety, rumors, reduced trust, paralysis. A delayed decision spreads uncertainty faster than a bad one. Because clarity, even painful clarity, creates movement. Uncertainty creates fear. And fear destroys productivity long before profits fall. Chapter 13. Fear at the bottom, comfort at the top. Here is a brutal imbalance in failing organizations. The entrepreneur feels tired. The employees feel afraid. The entrepreneur thinks, "I've done enough." The employees think, "What if this collapses?" This emotional gap widens every day hunger fades. Leadership fatigue is understandable. Leadership apathy is not. Because when the leader emotionally checks out, everyone else emotionally checks in to survival mode. Chapter 14. Why silence from leadership is interpreted as danger. When leaders stop communicating openly, employees fill the silence themselves with assumptions, with rumors, with worst-case scenarios. Silence is never neutral. In organizations, silence means something bad is coming. Even when nothing has been decided, the absence of communication creates psychological chaos. And once trust erodes, no strategy can fix it quickly. Chapter 15. The entrepreneur's private justification. Many entrepreneurs secretly tell themselves, "I built this, I deserve to slow down." And they do. But slowing down without replacing hunger with structure creates decay. A business does not forgive emotional withdrawal. It demands either active leadership or intentional exit. Anything in between is slow destruction. Chapter 16. When employees begin preparing their exit. Employees don't quit suddenly. They detach first. They update resumes quietly. They stop long-term thinking. They emotionally disengage. And by the time the entrepreneur notices performance drops, the decision has already been made internally. This is why retention collapses long before resignation letters appear. Chapter 17. The myth of loyalty. Entrepreneurs often say, "After all I've done, they should be loyal." But loyalty does not survive neglect. Employees are loyal to growth, safety, direction, fairness, not ownership history. Loyalty is earned daily, not inherited. Chapter 18. A hard truth about leadership. If your team lacks energy, ask yourself, what am I chasing right now? Because teams mirror leadership hunger. They don't mirror words. They mirror behavior.
Chapter 19. The turning point most leaders miss. Every declining entrepreneur reaches a crossroads. One path requires honesty. I no longer want to do this. The other requires recommitment. I will fight again. Avoiding the choice is the worst option, because indecision doesn't pause collapse, it accelerates it. Transition from diagnosis to awakening. In the next part, we shift direction. We will explore how entrepreneurial hunger can be rebuilt, how tired leaders can lead again, how organizations can be revived before lockouts happen. This is not about motivation. It is about responsibility. Part 3. The Crossroad of Leadership. Every entrepreneur reaches it, the moment when the weight of responsibility feels unbearable, the moment when excuses whisper, maybe it's time to slow down, maybe it's enough. It is here, at this crossroad, that true leadership is tested. because the future of everyone under your guidance depends not on comfort, not on excuses, but on appetite. Hunger can be rebuilt, but only if truth is faced honestly. Chapter 20. Admit the truth first. Revival begins with brutal honesty. Ask yourself, am I tired or indifferent? Am I avoiding the hard decisions? Am I holding on to pride instead of purpose? Most leaders skip this step. They try to fix everything externally, while internally they are still checking out. You cannot reignite a business without first reigniting yourself. Chapter 21. Reconnect with the original hunger. Remember why you started. Not for money, not for prestige, not for comfort. Why did you take the risk when no one else would? Why did you sacrifice sleep, social life, and certainty for a vision only you could see? That hunger, that fire, that is the engine of leadership. Reconnect with it. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Let it remind you that survival is not optional. It is demanded. Chapter 22. Lead by showing up emotionally. Employees do not follow schedules. They follow energy. Your presence must be more than physical. It must be emotional. Show curiosity. Show urgency. Show willingness to fight. When you lead emotionally, the team mirrors it. Motivation becomes contagious. Direction becomes tangible. Leadership is not a title. It is a living energy. Chapter 23. Small wins reignite culture. You do not rebuild in a day. You rebuild one decision at a time. Start with small wins. Make a hard call you've been avoiding. Recognize someone publicly for effort. Solve a recurring problem decisively. Each small victory rebuilds trust, confidence, and appetite for you and your team. Momentum grows faster than most expect. Chapter 24. Re-establish the invisible contract. Remember the invisible contract employees signed? It was broken when leadership disengaged. Rebuild it. Communicate openly. Set clear expectations. Share the vision and your renewed commitment. Admit past mistakes. Once employees see intention backed by action, loyalty begins to return. Chapter 25. Fear is temporary. Leadership is permanent. Employees' fear diminishes when leadership becomes visible again. You cannot eliminate every risk, but you can eliminate indecision. You cannot guarantee perfect outcomes, but you can guarantee effort, clarity, and direction. Leadership is permanent. Fear is temporary. When the top is hungry, the bottom finds courage.
Chapter 26. Lessons from entrepreneurs who reclaimed hunger. History is full of leaders who lost appetite and found it again. They admitted mistakes. They recommitted to vision. They rebuilt culture deliberately. They refused comfort at the expense of growth. Their employees didn't just survive, they thrived. Because hunger at the top transforms fear into energy, chaos into purpose, and uncertainty into results. Chapter 27. The ripple effect of renewed appetite. When a leader regains drive, it does not stop at strategy. It ripples through. Morale rises. Creativity sparks. Productivity accelerates. Collaboration becomes intentional. The organization moves as one body. A single decision to reclaim appetite can reverse months or years of decline. Chapter 28. Accountability without fear. True leadership requires accountability, not threats. Employees respond to clarity, not intimidation. They respond to structure, not micromanagement. They respond to consistency, not empty promises. As you rebuild hunger, rebuild systems that support accountability without creating anxiety. Trust and structure together produce unstoppable results. Chapter 29. When passion meets discipline. Hunger alone is insufficient. Action must follow. Discipline transforms desire into achievement. Routine transforms effort into habit. Systems transform vision into reality. Leadership revival is both heart and method. Passion fuels it. Discipline guides it. Chapter 30. The Entrepreneur's Awakening. The final step is internal. You must awaken fully, not just partially. Commit to growth every day. Lead with clarity and urgency. Protect your energy, but never at the cost of purpose. Remind yourself constantly, your appetite determines their survival. When this awakening happens, your organization transforms. Fear becomes confidence. Chaos becomes alignment. Stagnation becomes growth. Part 4. The Secret of Lasting Leadership. Leadership is not a sprint. It is a journey that tests stamina, resilience, and desire every single day. Many entrepreneurs reignite their hunger temporarily. They feel inspired for weeks or months. But the real question is, can you make hunger permanent? Because temporary drive only delays the inevitable collapse. Permanent hunger transforms organizations, careers, and lives. Chapter 31. Anchor yourself in purpose, not just profit. Ask yourself every morning, why does this business matter? Connect your work to something larger than yourself. Let that purpose guide every decision, no matter how small. Purpose is a fuel that never runs out. Profit motivates, but purpose inspires. Employees sense purpose. It spreads faster than any policy, email, or pep talk. Chapter 32. Surround yourself with energy. Energy is contagious. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, not just agree with you. Seek mentors who push your appetite. Let your team feel your renewed energy and amplify it. Hunger thrives when it is shared. Isolation destroys it. Chapter 33. Rituals that maintain drive. Hunger must be habitual. Daily reflection on progress. Morning rituals that sharpen focus. Weekly reviews of wins and losses. Celebrating small victories to reinforce momentum. Rituals keep your appetite alive when motivation wanes. Without them, even the most passionate leaders burn out. Chapter 34. Decision-making as a leadership muscle. Decision-making is a skill, not a talent. Train yourself to act quickly on high-impact matters. Embrace calculated risks. Learn from mistakes, but never let them paralyze you. Each decisive action strengthens your leadership energy. Indecision drains it, and everyone under you feels the fatigue. Chapter 35. Feedback loops. Hunger meets reality. Sustained hunger requires feedback. Seek honest perspectives from your team. Observe what works and what doesn't. Adjust strategies without ego. The world changes constantly. Appetite without adaptation becomes blind persistence. Feedback keeps your hunger effective. Chapter 36: Building a Culture of Shared Hunger. Leadership is not a solo journey. Create a culture where ambition is celebrated. Reward initiative, curiosity, and problem-solving. Encourage employees to take ownership. When your hunger becomes contagious, the organization becomes self-reinforcing. Teams thrive, even when leadership faces challenges. Chapter 37: Avoiding the Trap of False Comfort. Comfort is the silent enemy. Never mistake stability for safety. Never allow complacency to replace urgency. Never let your appetite be measured by profits alone. Sustainable leadership requires discomfort. Growth always lives outside comfort zones. Chapter 38: The Entrepreneur's Daily Checklist. To maintain leadership energy, review your vision every morning. Identify the most critical task of the day. Take decisive action. Reflect on progress. Connect with your team meaningfully. Adjust strategy as needed. This simple daily routine ensures hunger doesn't fade quietly. Chapter 39: Legacy over Luxury. Remember, employees, customers, and partners all watch. Your appetite sets the tone. Your engagement shapes culture. Your decisions affect lives. Luxury, comfort, or status are temporary. Legacy is permanent. Hunger is the bridge between the two. Chapter 40: Closing. Hunger is not optional. The truth is simple, yet brutal. If you, the entrepreneur, lose appetite, your team suffers first. But the reverse is also true. If you stay hungry, engaged, and decisive, your team will thrive, even under pressure. Leadership is not about avoiding fatigue. It is about choosing responsibility every day. Hunger is not optional. It is survival. It is influence. It is life. So choose hunger. Choose clarity. Choose action. Because the moment you stop wanting it, the moment you stop fighting, is the moment your organization and the lives it touches begin to suffer. And no apology, no explanation, no intention can undo what indifference quietly destroys. Stay awake. Stay hungry. Lead like the lives of others depend on it, because they do. As we come to the end of this journey, remember this: the fire of leadership is not inherited. It is not a title on paper. It is a force you choose to feed every single day. If you, as an entrepreneur or even as a team member, lose appetite, clarity, or purpose, the impact is real, silent, and lasting. But if you choose to stay hungry, intentional, and awake, you do more than grow a business. You shape lives. You inspire action. You create a legacy. Every decision you make, every action you take, every ounce of energy you give, it ripples far beyond what you can see. So today, decide. Will you settle for comfort, or will you reclaim the hunger that builds empires? The choice is yours. Lead with intention. Lead with energy. Lead with hunger. Because the world doesn't need more leaders who coast. It needs leaders who ignite. This is Sunny Ra, Audioverse, reminding you, leadership is not optional. Hunger is not optional. And the lives that follow your lead depend on the fire you carry. Stay awake, stay hungry, and never forget, you are the spark that others follow.